There is a woman in Kyoto who, every single night, unfurls her thin, firm cotton futon on the floor. She does not sink into a soft, cavernous mattress. She rests on a surface that respects the geometry of her bones. In the West, we have been sold the cloud myth. We believe that the softer, the fluffier, the more expensive our mattress, the better we will sleep. We think we are being pampered, but we are actually trapping our skeletons in a torture device. We are creating a graveyard for our natural posture, spending 8 hours a night actively fighting our own anatomy. Let us look at the first 2 reasons why your luxurious bed is likely the reason you wake up broken. Reason 1 is the hammock effect. On a soft mattress, your body, specifically your pelvis, the heaviest part of your frame, sinks deep into the foam. Your spine is forced into a curved, unnatural arch, like a bow pulled too tight. Throughout the night, this sustained distortion of the vertebrae pulls on your nerves and forces your deep lower back muscles into a state of permanent tension, trying to correct a curve that shouldn't be there. You wake up with that locked feeling in your lumbar area because your muscles have been working overtime all night just to hold your spine together. On a firm Japanese futon, your weight is distributed evenly. Your bones align under their own gravity, and your spine rests in a neutral, relaxed position. You aren't sinking, you are being supported. Reason 2 is the muscular stasis. When you lie on a soft, shifting surface, your stabilizer muscles never truly power down. They remain in a state of microactivation, constantly firing to keep you from rolling or slipping into the indentations of your own body weight. Your deep core muscles are supposed to be in recovery mode, but because the surface is unstable, they stay awake. On a firm, flat surface, your stabilizer muscles reach a state of total, blissful surrender. They don't have to hold you, the floor holds you. This is the difference between a restless, twitching sleep and the deep, silent recovery your body craves. By choosing the cloud, you are denying your muscles the ability to shut off. By choosing the firm floor, you are giving your nervous system the green light to finally, completely let go. We have been conditioned to believe that sleep quality is merely a matter of light and sound. But the Japanese masters of restoration understand that the very foundation of your sleep, the material beneath you, acts as a biochemical catalyst for your brain. In the West, we spend thousands on synthetic foams and treated textiles, oblivious to the fact that we are suffocating our biology in a toxic, heat-trapping microclimate. We try to fix our poor sleep with white noise machines and blackout curtains, while the very surface we lie upon is actively working against our hormones. Let's look at the 2 hidden secrets of the traditional Japanese setup that turn your bedroom into a laboratory of deep recovery. Reason 3 is the neurochemical miracle of igusa, traditional tatami grass. When you step into a room with tatami mats, you immediately notice a distinct, clean, earthy scent. This isn't just a smell, it is a sophisticated biochemical defense system. Tatami is woven from high-quality igusa rush, a plant that naturally emits phytoncides, organic compounds that trees and plants use to protect themselves from decay. Research has shown that these compounds have a profound impact on the human nervous system. When you inhale the subtle fragrance of tatami, your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest side of your biology, is immediately stimulated. Your heart rate begins to drop, your blood pressure stabilizes, and your brain waves shift from the high beta state of daytime work into the alpha wave state associated with profound meditation and deep relaxation. You aren't just sleeping in a room, You are sleeping in an environment that is actively suppressing your stress hormones and coaxing your body into the optimal state for melatonin production. We, on the other hand, sleep on synthetic fibers treated with fire retardants and chemical foams that off-gas invisible toxins. We are paying to be surrounded by chemicals that keep our nervous systems on edge, while the Japanese have perfected a natural environment that does the meditating for us. Reason 4 is the physics of thermal regulation and the greenhouse effect of modern beds. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night feeling hot, damp, and stifled, even if the room temperature is cool? This is the synthetic greenhouse effect. Modern plush mattresses are essentially thick slabs of insulating plastic foam. They lock in the heat your body naturally sheds throughout the night. As you radiate warmth, the foam absorbs it, creates a hot, humid pocket of air right against your skin, and then radiates that heat back into your body. This disrupts your core body temperature, the most critical variable for maintaining deep, stage 3 sleep. When your core temp rises, your brain receives a wake-up signal, effectively kicking you out of the deep recovery cycle. The traditional Japanese setup is a masterclass in thermal physics. The combination of the firm, breathable tatami mat and the airy, natural fiber cotton futon creates a system that breathes with your body. The materials are porous. They wick away moisture and allow heat to dissipate naturally, rather than trapping it against your torso. This prevents the overheating that causes the midnight awakenings most Westerners call insomnia. It keeps you at the perfect, cool, dry baseline required for the brain to execute its nocturnal cleaning processes. We are spending our lives in our own localized heat traps, fighting our own body heat, while the Japanese have designed a surface that acts as a natural air conditioner. The shift. Recognize that the softness you crave is literally cooking you. By embracing materials that allow for airflow and natural thermal exchange, you are no longer fighting your body's own cooling mechanism. You are facilitating it. You are finally allowing your core temperature to plummet, which is the biological master key to the deepest, most restorative sleep of your life. We treat our bedrooms as shrines, but in the West, we have unknowingly turned our beds into something much darker. We invest in massive, expensive, immovable mattress structures, heavy slabs of foam and springs that sit in our rooms for a decade or more. We think of this as a permanent anchor of the bedroom, a cozy centerpiece. But let's look at the reality of this through the lens of hygiene. A large mattress is essentially a giant, unwashable sponge. It is a stationary, permanent home for millions of microscopic organisms. We talk about cleaning our homes, yet we ignore the very object where we spend 1/3 of our lives, allowing it to become a breeding ground that our immune systems are constantly fighting. Reason 5 is the mattress as a dust mite terrarium. Consider this. A typical Western mattress can hold up to 2 million dust mites. These microscopic creatures feed on the dead skin cells you shed every night. They are everywhere in your foam, your springs, and your deep padding. Because a standard mattress cannot be washed, steamed, or moved, it simply collects these allergens, along with sweat, skin oils, and airborne particles, year after year. Every single night, you are inhaling the waste products of this microscopic ecosystem. Your immune system, which should be focused on repairing your tissues and managing your hormones, is instead constantly deployed to fight these low-level allergens, keeping you in a state of silent inflammation. You wake up with a stuffy nose, a scratchy throat, or a feeling of heaviness, and you blame the weather or a cold. In reality, you are living in a low-grade allergic reaction. The Japanese, however, have opted out of this. Their system is not a permanent fixture. It is a modular, temporary one. Reason 6 is the ritual of futon hoshi, the act of daily sterilization through the sun. This is the Japanese answer to the hygienic decay of the West. Because a cotton futon is lightweight and portable, it does not live on the floor 24/7 like a dead piece of furniture. Every single morning, the Japanese family engages in the ritual of futon hoshi. They fold the futon and carry it out to the balcony or a sunny spot, exposing the fibers to the harsh, direct ultraviolet rays of the sun. This is the most powerful sterilizer in existence. UV light does not just freshen the futon, it kills bacteria, evaporates the moisture that dust mites need to survive, and neutralizes odors at a molecular level. It is a natural, chemical-free, zero-cost sterilization process that happens every single day. While we in the West buy expensive chemical sprays to deodorize our beds, or invest in vacuum cleaners that can barely touch the surface of a deep foam mattress, the Japanese have harnessed the physics of the environment to keep their bed pristine. When you treat your bedding as a permanent, immovable object, you are inviting decay. When you treat your bedding as a transient, sun-cleansed tool, you are inviting health. The shift. Imagine the difference in your lungs, your skin, and your sleep quality if your bed were sterilized by the sun every single morning. By moving away from the permanent mattress model, you aren't just saving space, you are cutting off the oxygen to the allergens that have been silently compromising your immune system for years. You are reclaiming the sanctity of your air, one sun-warmed day at a time. We have discussed the body and the hygiene of the bed, but we must now address the most fundamental aspect of your mental state, the architecture of the space you inhabit. In the Western world, we have been sold the idea that a bedroom is defined by the massive, hulking presence of a bed. We dedicate 30 to 40% of our most valuable private square footage to a piece of furniture that is only used for one function. We have allowed this inanimate object to permanently dictate the layout, the flow, and the energy of our sanctuary. We have effectively turned our bedrooms into sleep-only zones that feel cramped, claustrophobic, and static. And then we wonder why we feel a strange, subconscious sense of tightness when we wake up. We are living in a self-imposed prison of our own furniture. Reason 7 is the physical theft of potential. When your bed is a massive, immovable fortress in the center of the room, it literally steals the most vital resource you have, your floor space. You are left with narrow pathways to navigate. Your view is restricted to the headboard. The corners of your room become dark, unreachable zones of dust. Your brain, which has evolved to value wide, open horizons, perceives this physical restriction as an environmental threat. It creates a low-level background feeling of being trapped. You wake up in a room that is 80% bed, and your mind subconsciously registers that there is nowhere else to go. You are starting your day in a space that feels small, limited, and closed off from the rest of the world. The Japanese understanding of spatial design is completely different. It is built on the fluidity of use. A room is not a bedroom because it is dominated by a bed. A room is a living space that can become a bedroom, a study, or a yoga studio at a moment's notice. Reason 8 is the daily practice of ma, the intentional creation of emptiness. In Japan, the ritual of folding the futon and putting it into the closet every single morning is one of the most profound acts of mental hygiene in the entire culture. It is not just about tidying up. When that bed disappears, the room is transformed. Suddenly, your floor space is doubled. The light hits the corners that were previously hidden under the bed frame. The energy of the room shifts from stagnant to infinite. By clearing the bed, you are signaling to your brain that the day is a blank slate, a vast, open space of potential where anything can happen. You are reclaiming the room for your morning stretches, for your meditation, for your work, or for simple, deep breathing. Consider the difference between a Westerner waking up in a room dominated by a messy, unmade bed and a Japanese person waking up in a room that is suddenly, entirely, perfectly empty. The Westerner starts their day in the mess of the night. They are reminded of their fatigue, their tangled sheets, and their confinement. The Japanese person starts their day in a vacuum, a clean, expansive void that invites them to create their day from nothing. This is the power of Ma. It is the realization that if you leave your night in the room during the day, you can never truly be present for your daytime life. By putting the bed away, you are physically removing the anchor of the past and the anchor of your subconscious rest, giving your consciousness the physical room it needs to expand. You aren't doing extra work by folding the futon. You are buying back your sanity and your freedom. You are telling your nervous system that you are not a creature of the bed, but a master of your own environment. A clean, empty, wide-open room at 8 a.m. is not just a room, it is a declaration of freedom. It is the clearest way to tell your mind that you are ready to expand, to create, and to live, without the crushing weight of your own sleeping furniture watching over you. We have dismantled the Western bed, scrubbed the dust of our lethargy away, and reclaimed our floor space. But there is one final critical transformation that occurs when you transition from the floating mattress to the Japanese floor-based futon. We often underestimate how the physicality of our waking moment dictates the chemical cascade of our entire morning. In the West, we have optimized our waking process to be as passive as possible. We roll out of a high, soft bed, our feet barely touching the floor, our muscles completely slack. We treat our own bodies as if we were being lifted out of a crate. We wonder why we reach for the coffee, why we feel sluggish for the first hour, and why our minds remain trapped in the twilight zone of sleep. It is because our biology was never intended to be lifted. It was intended to rise. Reason 9 is the biological awakening through gravity. When you sleep on a firm futon on the floor, you are starting from the lowest possible point in your environment. To rise, you must engage your own body. You cannot simply roll off. You must recruit your quadriceps, your glutes, your abdominals, and your lower back stabilizers in a coordinated, functional movement. This isn't just getting up. This is a full body activation. The moment you push your torso off the floor, you trigger a natural, healthy rush of blood flow from your core into your extremities. You are pumping oxygenated blood through your muscles, warming your joints, and naturally elevating your heart rate without a single drop of caffeine. You are performing a light, functional reset of your own musculoskeletal system every single morning. By the time you are standing, your body is already online. It is a gentle, organic wake-up call that matches your design. Compare this to the passive, slack rollout from a high Western bed, where your body wakes up in a state of sudden, jarring verticality, leaving your muscles confused and your blood flow lagging behind. The floor-based rise is not a chore. It is the most natural, effective morning exercise you will ever perform, and it's completely free. Reason 10 is the psychological anchor of intent. This is perhaps the most powerful and yet the most overlooked aspect of the Japanese sleep ritual. Because the futon is only laid out when it is time to sleep and stored away when the day begins, it serves as a massive, unmistakable anchor for your neural circuits. The moment your skin touches the futon, your brain receives an unambiguous, non-negotiable signal. The day is over. It is time to enter the state of total restoration. There is no ambiguity. You don't lounge on a futon to watch movies. You don't sit on it to scroll through your phone. You don't use it to eat or do work. Because it is a transient, deliberate object, it possesses a sacred, functional purity. This eliminates the bed rot phenomenon, the modern Western habit of spending hours lying in bed with a smartphone, debating whether you are actually sleepy. By physically unrolling your bed only at the moment of exhaustion, you have eradicated the possibility of insomnia through environment design. You have built a psychological trigger so strong that your brain will immediately begin shutting down the moment you lay the futon down. You are defeating the distraction-heavy lifestyle of the West by literally changing the furniture of your life. This is your final catharsis. Look at the path we have laid out through these 10 reasons. The Western bedroom has become a monument to comfort, but in that comfort, we have sacrificed our posture, our temperature regulation, our hygiene, our spatial freedom, and our ability to signal the transition between rest and action. We have become prisoners of our own luxury. The Japanese way is not about suffering on the floor. It is about the radical restoration of the body's natural state. It is about the dignity of a spine that rests flat, the purity of a room that is cleared, and the power of a sleep ritual that actually functions as a biological reset button. You don't need a $10,000 mattress to fix your back or your sleep quality. You need the courage to stop nesting in your own stagnation. Start tonight. Even if you don't buy a futon yet, clear your floor. Move your bed away from the wall. Let the space be empty. Feel the difference of a room that is truly yours, rather than a room that belongs to your bed. You are not just changing how you sleep, you are changing how you wake up, how you move, and how you perceive the space around you. You are reclaiming the room, reclaiming the rhythm, and finally, after years of restless, synthetic nights, you are reclaiming the deep, silent recovery that is your birthright. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.